Welcome to class 14. In this class, there are 4 videos, 4 stories presented. As before, please find a partner and watch the stories together, gain an understanding of them, and then practice saying the stories to each other. Let's begin. The first story, number 1, is the kitchen. The kitchen is my favorite room in the house because my family's always in the kitchen. I have 2 families. I have my mother's family and my father's family, and they are very different. My mother's family lives in a big city. They live on the 4th floor of an apartment building, and their apartment is very small. All the rooms are small, the toilet is small, and the kitchen is very small. In the kitchen, there's enough room for a small round table for about 4 or 5 people to sit around. And in the summer, when we go visit my grandparents, it's very hot, so they open the window. There's a single small window into the kitchen that goes out onto the fire escape, and outside is very loud. You can hear the buses and trucks and cars driving up and down the street, people yelling to each other, and the sound of the city comes into the kitchen through the open window. But that's okay, because in the kitchen, it's also very loud. When we visit my grandparents, we always sit in the kitchen. All my family sits around the table, and it's very crowded and fun, and we talk and cook and laugh and eat together. My father's family is very different. They live in the country. They live on a small farm. It's a cattle farm, and they have a very big house. All the rooms are very large, and the kitchen is very big. In the middle of the kitchen, there's a large table with enough room for 14 or 16 people to sit at. And in the summertime, when we visit my father's family, it's always a lot of fun. After work, everyone comes into the kitchen through the back door and sits at the table. They cook and laugh and talk and eat together. And my grandmother is very busy serving potatoes to my grandfather. My grandfather sits at the head of the table facing his entire family. And at the other end of the room, there are 3 large windows that look out onto the farm. And in the summertime, the windows are open. And if you look out the windows, you can see the whole farm. And it's very quiet outside, and you can hear cows go moo. And that's why I like my 2 families. Even though they do very different things, they live in different places and do different jobs, what they enjoy doing is spending time together, and they enjoy spending that time together in the kitchen. Story number 2, a little too far. Karen and Rena go to the same school. They are in elementary school. Karen's in grade 6, Rena's in grade 2, and the girls go to a private school, so it's very far away from their house, so they go by train. If they went to a public school, they could walk to school. It's close to their house, but their parents prefer to send the girls to a private school. And so in the morning, they walk to the station with their father, and he takes a bus to his office from the station, and the girls ride the train. The girls ride the train with 11 friends, but Rena and Karen are the first ones to get on the train. The train stops 11 times on the way to school, and when the train stops at a station, a school friend gets on. At every station, a school friend gets on, and when this train arrives at the school station, there are 13 girls riding the train together. After school, 13 friends get on the train again and ride home together, and again, at every station, when the train stops, 1 girl gets off the train. Karen and Rena get off the train last and walk home together. Well, one day, Karen was sick. She had a fever, and she stayed home from school, and Rena had to go to school alone for the first time. Karen told her sister, "Walk with our friends, and if you get lost, phone me." Rena and her father walked to the station, and Rena took the train to school with her friends. Together, all 12 girls got off the train and walked to school. But after school, Rena missed her station and forgot to get off the train. She took the train to the end of the line, and then everyone got off the train. Rena was crying when she phoned her sister. She said, "Karen, I'm lost." Karen asked her if everyone had got off the train, and when she said yes, she said, "Wait, I know where you are. Stay there." Karen picked up her jacket, went to the station, and she rode the train to the end of the line. She picked up Rena, and they came home together. Finished. Story number 3. Mavis is a babysitter. Mavis is 16 years old and has a part-time job. On Saturday and Friday nights, Mavis works babysitting young children. When she was 13 years old, she took a babysitting class at the YMCA. The class was once a week for 12 weeks, and it taught her how to take care of children, how to hold a baby, how to change a diaper, how to make nutritious snacks, and how to talk to children. It was pretty simple information, but it was useful information for a 13-year-old girl who wants to become a babysitter. When Mavis was 14, she started babysitting, and now, 2 years later, she has many, many customers. She's booked up every weekend, and parents will even change their plans so that she can babysit for them. Mavis babysits when parents want to go out to a date, or go to a movie, or go to dinner, and they don't want to bring their children. She doesn't have to cook or clean in the house. Usually, she plays games with the children, or watches a movie and eats popcorn. If the parents are late, then Mavis waits up with the children, puts them to bed, and then waits for the parents to come home. Last Saturday, Mavis was babysitting an 8-year-old boy named Kevin. Kevin wanted to eat popcorn and watch a movie. So, together, they cooked microwave popcorn and put it in a bowl, and then Kevin, he wanted to put maple syrup on the popcorn, but Mavis stopped him. She said, "That's disgusting," and Kevin got very, very angry. He yelled at her, "You're not my mother!" He yelled, and he went upstairs and bam! He slammed his door. Well, Mavis was surprised about him getting so angry, and she waited about 10 minutes and then went up to check on Kevin. He was sitting on his bed. He was still angry, and he said, "Go away, leave me alone." "Okay," said Mavis, and she went back downstairs, and she watched the movie and ate the popcorn alone. And when the movie was over, she went back upstairs again to his room to check on him, but Kevin was not in his room. He was not in his bed. He was not in the closet. Mavis went and checked the other rooms upstairs in the bathroom, but Kevin was gone. And finally, she came back to his room and checked under his bed. There, she found Kevin. He was asleep. Kevin had crawled under his bed and fallen asleep. Well, Mavis left him there, and she went downstairs and read a book until Kevin's parents came home. She explained to Kevin's mother what had happened and why Kevin was sleeping under the bed. Kevin's mother apologized. "I'm sorry," she said. "He shouldn't be so rude. I'll talk to him." Mavis just told him, "Oh, it's no big deal. He's 8. After that, Kevin's father offered Mavis a ride home and paid her for the evening of babysitting. The end. The final story for class 14 is David and Peter. David and Peter are having lunch right now. They are friends, and they're sitting in a McDonald's restaurant together. Yesterday, David asked his mother for $12 for lunch. His mother gave him the money, but she was surprised. She always thought McDonald's restaurant was an inexpensive place. The restaurant is directly across the river from David's house, but to get there, the boys ride along the river, across a bridge, and then back up the other side. The boys rode their bicycles to the restaurant. They rode down to the river, and they followed a path along the river for about 1 kilometer until they came to a very large bridge. They got off their bicycles, and they pushed their bicycles up a very steep hill to get onto the bridge. As they rode across the bridge, the cars were driving very quickly across, and it was very loud and difficult to talk. But after the bridge, the boys rode down to the other side of the river and back up the other side of the river until they reached a road. They turned down a small road that led to the restaurant. The restaurant was very crowded, and the boys had to wait in line. Peter ordered a cheeseburger and French fries, and David had a hamburger with onion rings. Both boys had a vanilla milkshake to drink, and they sat in the restaurant and had lunch together, and they talked about bicycling by the river, about cars, about baseball, and they both had a very good lunch out together. Finished. And that's the end of class 14.